For as long as I remember, I have been a people pleaser, a rule follower who just continuously strive to be good. Not that this took much work, but overall, I just avoided being disagreeable in every aspect of my life. And yes, a lot of this does stem from childhood. When you're not allowed to speak your mind to your parents, you tend to kind of hold those same things when you grow into an adult. Because I look at like some of my other friends who were allowed to speak their mind in their childhood home, and they tend to continue to speak their mind when they get to adulthood. Yeah, I just want it to be good, to be light, to be non-confrontational. Well, somewhere down the line, I realized that this wasn't a life I wanted for myself, because with fearing, adversity, you tend to just follow whatever set of rules have been placed in front of you. I think social activists are worried about all the rules. No. I began to realize, my fear and adversity was really holding me back from just being my truest, authentic self, from being a baddie. Now, I'm not saying like put a middle finger up to like all the rules, because of course we have rules, I guess, for like a reason and stuff. But I'm saying know when to say, actually, this does not align with my morals, so let's be chaotic. I really admired like quote unquote rebels. A good example of like the character I'm talking about is not like a villain, so to speak. If you watched Euphoria, Maddie was not a goody two shoes. She had many good qualities that I adore, but she also had like a darker side to her where she was like not about to play around with nobody. Bitch. That's kind of the energy I wanted to kind of like give. That's the energy I wanted to give. And like me with this strive to be this pretty perfect little princess was not allowing me to be my truest authentic self, and was not allowing me to command the energy I wanted from others. You can still be empathetic, kind, and caring as a person without being mistaken for someone they can pull a fast one on. There's so much of my life, conditioned to be this reserved, goody two-shoes girl that made me truly kind of like subconsciously afraid to say no, to disagree, to stand up for myself, to speak out. And also what I didn't realize like way back when I was in my goody two-shoes era is that these goody girls that don't really stand up for themselves, this is what toxic men love. Toxic men love these type of people just because they can get away with everything. Like, no matter how good you are and how many good deeds you do, bad things still happen to good people. Like, you can be a literal saint and then boom, stage 4 cancer. So that made me start thinking of, what it really means to be good and bad, and what that means for like your karmic cycles. Subconsciously, I feel like I grew up to be wired to think as long as I'm good and do good, that everything in my life would just work out and everybody would be kind to me, everybody would respect me. But that is simply just not the case. Being in balance is everything. Just look at nature. You think wild animals, are surviving by being like goody two-shoes, sharing all their food and resources, and just like letting people walk all over them? No, you got to be a little tough. Yes, they do have caring sides to them, such as the dynamic between a wild animal raising their young and things like that, but they also have to be tough when it's time for them youngins to grow up. You're gonna have to get up out the nest, okay? Yeah. And although modern life is very different than, the natural world in a sense, the same rules still kind of apply. And I want to make it clear that I'm not saying do evil deeds and be an evil person, just, out here just do everybody dirty. I'm saying like release the shackles of, trying to strive to make everybody in the room and everybody in your circle comfortable, because 9 times out of 10, they're not allowing you that same liberty. Somebody says something messed up to you, you think they're thinking about your comfortability in that moment? So make them uncomfortable back, okay? And what I began to realize when I started standing up for myself, and whether that be in the workplace or like in like a group setting, I began to realize you really don't even have to be mean. Like, to stand up for yourself, you don't have to be catty, you don't have to be mean. You just call out what you see, and you can see the change in the demeanor of that other person. I had a higher up say something rude to me in front of a group, like like she was giving this sort of tour to some of her interns, and she came along to my station and said something really catty, really snobby to me, that was disguised as like just a kind of like question, but you can tell there was like ill intent, and she was trying to show off in front of her interns by embarrassing me. However, I just called it out how I saw it. I didn't have to be rude or catty back. But I simply corrected her on it, and you could literally see the change in her face and how she tried to explain what she just said, tried to, you know, renege on some of the catty things she just said. So it only really takes one time to tell somebody without even really telling somebody like, I'm not the one. Okay, we have to start being more chaotic. You know, it is especially hard for us people of, you know, a certain skin color to do this because yeah, just like society. And I still struggle with this today in today's time, but I've definitely gotten so much better because I used to just not say anything. Somebody say something messed up to me, oh dang, and it would like sit with me for the entire day. Not only will what that person say sit with me for like literally days, a week will go by and I would still, you know, that intrusive thought of like what happened will still like bust its way through my brain, and I would just be thinking about it, and I would also be thinking about how I just did not say anything, and I would just get mad at myself. And what truly helped me stop overthinking about things that happened to me, like whether that be someone say something kind of messed up, somebody kind of like say something that you have to read between the lines of them being catty, or just like somebody just blatantly being disrespectful, is to just say something in the moment. And this literally takes practice, because sometimes when someone says something to you, especially if this doesn't happen to you often, you're kind of like too stunned to speak at first. But say something in that moment. Even if a couple seconds go by, even if a minute, 5 minutes go by, still bring it up, okay? When somebody used to say something catty and I didn't say anything, it would stick with me for so long. But once I started saying something in the moment, literally after the situation happened, that was it. I would just go about my day happy, you know, because I said something in the moment. It got kind of resolved. At least I spoke up for myself, so like I no longer felt bad about the situation. Not saying, you know, be evil, not saying be like be like a true villain, but enter your villain era. You know, start being a little more adverse, start, you know, calling people out. Nice girls get walked all over. Nice girls attract toxic men. Nice girls miss out on the time of their life because they're too afraid to do anything adverse or be the center of attention. Nice girls never start sharing their stories online because they're too worried about what the comments will look like. I'm talking to someone specific out there. Ditch the goody girl act, and you will start realizing how much happier you are in your workplace, how much you're happier in your dating life, how much you're happy in your social life, just all areas of your life. Like, you have to stop trying to, you know, be nice all the time. You got to start being a little more cutthroat. You can still be empathetic and nice and caring, but people gotta know you're not the one. So yeah, you guys, that was my little rant about ditching the nice girl act and entering my villain era, my standing up for myself, speaking my mind era. Okay, it's still a work in progress, but I think we've come a pretty long way. It's time to start holding people accountable, to say things with your chest, and to put yourself first. So take my hand, okay, and enter our villain era together, okay? Join me. And without being said, you guys, without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. You know the vibes, period. And don't forget to hit that bell notification to let you know when I post again. And without further ado, I'll see you in the next video.